All right. Well, thanks for coming out, everybody, to our most, I guess, kind of a bit of a renewal for Data for Good. We've had a fair bit of turnover on the leadership side. Our membership's changed a little bit over time, and we haven't really been as active as we've been in the past, but we're really hoping that this is going to be the start of something really exciting and really positive. Because as we have turned over a new leaf and the seasons have changed on the Data for Good leadership, we have lined up a lot of new projects and a lot of new exciting opportunities for people to get involved with, to be able to help out the community and to help grow. I also notice, just looking at the Meetup invite, that there's a lot of new members here. So I'm trying to also let you know a little bit more about what Data for Good Regina does, how it fits in the national organization, and a little bit more about how you can get involved. Okay? I am going to start sharing, and then we're going to get started. So with me today, so my name is Ryan Tessier. I am the chapter co-lead, or one of the chapter co-leads for Data for Good Regina. With me today is Scott Wells. I just wanted to let him introduce himself here.
Hey folks, Scott Wells, chapter co-lead as well. I've been involved in Data for Good for about the past 7 years since it started here, and been on the leadership team for about the last 5. So I had the opportunity to be involved in a lot of the stuff that's going on in the city in Regina, and super excited to share with you some of the things that we're about to get started with.
Yeah, for sure. And since I'm going to be talking, one of the things we're going to be talking about is the Data Accelerator that we're starting, and I'm an instructor for that. So I'm going to say a little bit more about myself a bit later. Save the good stuff for the end. Just want to get started by wishing everybody a happy Valentine's Day. I certainly hope that you folks just don't think that just because we're data people that we don't have a heart, and that we don't care, and that we don't have the loved ones, but we do approach it in a unique way. So I think back to this classic comic by XKCD, and I just hope you're all giving a shout out to your loved ones. You're treating them right on Valentine's Day, and yeah, hope you did something special for them. So just to get this thing started, this is our first community meetup back since about September. Again, we've had a lot of things change over. You're going to probably be seeing a lot more of me as we're looking to get these things on the road. We've got a lot of new, even just new meetups planned. And so we'll talk a little bit more about those as we get into them. For our agenda today, we are just really going to get started with that overview of Data for Good. There are a lot of new members, and there's a lot of folks who've maybe kind of been involved and then backed away for a bit and then came back. And I just wanted to give you an update as to where we're at, what our mission is, how you can kind of reach out to us and get involved. Second, we're going to talk about the newest and one of our really big exciting projects we've been working on, which is we are going to be launching a training program, a community data, or a nonprofit data accelerator rather, which will be helping to upskill the nonprofit community and hopefully have a lot of different projects and get a lot of engagement between our data, our good data professionals who are part of our community and the nonprofits that we look to serve. And last but not least, we're also going to talk about this really cool project we've got started, which is called the Community Dashboarding Project, which will be, I think, kind of like a seed, which launched many, many, many other projects from us. But this way to give back to the community by providing relevant data in a way that's easily consumable, easily digestible, and available for nonprofits, for government organizations, and really just the public at large. So we'll say more about that. And also, Scott Wells, you're free to stop me if I get ahead of myself. I've got a lot of stuff prepared here. As always, feel free to jump in if you need to add any context or anything like that. So who are we? If you haven't been involved with Data for Good, we've been around a while. I'd say probably since about 2018 when we got really started to get active. We sort of ebbed and flowed over time, but we've really picked up into COVID as we picked up a lot more projects and a lot more folks started to get involved. But in a nutshell, we are really at a very core a community of data and AI enthusiasts. We really are. We're sort of that community of practice in Regina and in the Saskatchewan area for folks who are involved in data and AI. And we look to build that community to offer a space and a platform for folks in the data and AI space to connect with each other and then connect with folks who will be, potentially their future employers, potentially side projects, and things like that. And last but not least, and the way that we give back to the community and really our driving purpose is that ability to help nonprofits. So we as Data for Good, as our mission, our core function is, we plan a lot of meetups, we keep the community together, and we work with nonprofits to volunteer and use our data skills and our AI skills to help them build out reporting and help them build out different data products that they can apply to their business to really have that social impact. A lot of the work started out of the fact that, when Data for Good was first started, the national branch, I think that there was a realization that a lot of nonprofits just didn't have the funds, didn't have the skill sets, and really just didn't have the time to be investing in data and investing in analytics. But in reality, all of us in the data space realize that this is where some of the biggest impacts can be for any business, whether nonprofit or government or whatever it is. And so trying to bring that expertise and that skill to a community that sorely needs it. A little bit more information. There is, I talk about Data for Good Regina, but we are part of a national body. Data for Good actually has chapters all across the country, including in Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Regina. We tried to start one in Saskatchewan, but we're working on sort of consolidating a little bit. There's some down in Ottawa, Waterloo, Montreal, all over the country. We do monthly meetups where we get together, either various events that help engage our community. Traditionally, it's been a lot of, we invite guest speakers out, we have them talk about different topics in data and analytics, but as we have been changing, and we are changing up the format a little bit, we're looking to do things, be a bit experimental, find different ways to engage our members, and you'll hear about some of those today. If you are interested in finding out more about what we do, regina.dataforgood.ca. That's a good place to sign up. We actually have a form there that you can sign up on to get your information into the system. We also have a LinkedIn page, which I am going to put in the chat. We call it Data for Good Saskatchewan, and that's a bit of a premonition as to where we're going. As Data for Good National, we're going to be looking to consolidate some of these, some of the membership from Saskatoon, some of the membership from Regina into that single platform over time there. So I just pasted into the chat the LinkedIn page. So if you want to go there, give us a like, it would be extremely appreciated. You're going to see a lot of content coming out from that LinkedIn page in the future. And so we really encourage you to get on it. I'll also paste the regina.dataforgood in the chat as well. So it's nice and easy and nice and convenient for everyone.
Is it possible to put the Calgary one? Because I'm really interested. I'm located in Calgary. Thanks, Ryan.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Data for Good. I think if you just type into Google Data for Good Calgary, that's just all I'm doing because I don't think I have it here. But here we go.
No worries. Okay, I can do that too. That's okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
But good to know the chapter is available in Calgary. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, and they're all linked together on the website, so you'd be able to find it from anywhere across Canada as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
So while we've had a bit of turnover, so for those of you who've been with us for a while, there has been a little bit of turnover in our leadership, but I just kind of wanted to go through quickly and just highlight, who's sort of sitting on the leadership committee right now. Obviously myself, Ryan Tessier, one of the chapter co-leads, along with Scott Wells, our most senior chapter co-lead. I think you've been here for a few years now. Hey, Scott. And then we've got over in the corner here, Chuck Plant. He's our Saskatoon rep. The chapter co-lead up in Saskatoon there. So we've been working with him to kind of figure out how to engage our Saskatoon membership as well as the Regina membership. And then last but not least, Joshua West, he's a longtime member. He's been helping us out with a lot of the marketing side, and he gets the website up and running, keeps things going. So an integral part of the leadership team as well. Okay, and just to kind of highlight kind of some of the impact we've had in the past as Data for Good Regina. So these are a few of our more recent projects, but we've worked with a number of other nonprofits. But most recently, we've worked with Sexual Assault Services Saskatchewan to put together a dashboard for them. We had a group of volunteers. I'd put a call out and a bunch of them signed up, and we ran a really successful project that actually created a visual that Sexual Assault Services of Saskatchewan put on their website to highlight hotspots for sexual assault around the province, having a big impact in preventing that. The Regina Food Bank is a notable one we've helped in the past, where some of the data that we put together, some of the mapping that we did for them actually led to help informing where they place their new food bank location. We just finished up a really cool project with Sask Rugby to help improve retention for folks who are involved in rugby. And we've also have the Regina Public Library that we've been helping recently to figure out optimal placement of various library assets to try to maximize the amount of folks who are making use of the library services. So a lot of different projects. And Scott, you just made a post in the chat here.
That's the link to the SAS dashboard. So if anyone's interested, it's just an embedded Power BI dashboard on their website.
Awesome. So now here's where we need your help. So we called this up because we're really trying to get our members re-engaged. And because we have these 2 new projects coming out, we need quite a lot of members to help us out and to help broaden our space and get some folks involved. We really are looking for members from across the spectrum, whether senior data analysts, more junior folks looking to be mentees, or even data engineering. We kind of have a project for everybody right now. Actually, just a funny story. As I was putting this up, I accidentally pasted "we need your help" over top of this. And yeah, we don't need your help with that. I think we can handle that. But I just was kind of a funny thing. So to start off with, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the first one we've got up here, and this is the Nonprofit Data Accelerator program. So just to describe it, this is really one of these things we're trying to start where we're trying to learn from a lot of the good work that's been done up on some of the startup spaces with getting founders, skilled up to be good entrepreneurs. We thought, hey, couldn't we do something similar to that for the nonprofits that we work with, where we can take folks from the nonprofits, these groups that, again, they don't have data professionals, they need a lot of help with their data. And instead of just doing a one-off project for them, let's teach them how to fish, metaphorically, where, we show them that we share with them the skills and experience of our membership, and they can learn to be better data analysts and do data better through the mentorship and through the guidance of our senior data professionals. And our data professionals can also connect with, folks who are actually doing stuff in industry to help build their network, grow their connections, and hopefully lead to some of those future opportunities. So again, it's a unique new program where we try to bring together data professionals and nonprofit data champions to solve real world problems. So the team, we pair everybody up into teams, and they'll work on problems that are relevant to that nonprofit organization. And in the end, the teams end up competing a little bit on their final reporting project. We do have some prizes in the works here, but we're just kind of figuring things out with some of the sponsors before we can announce those. So just to give you an idea of what the structure of this program as we envision it right now, we are envisioning it as a March to June timeframe. It's really a proof of concept for us because we've never done anything like this. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to take 3 different individuals, either take the nonprofit data champions provided to us by our nonprofit partners, a senior data professional, somebody who's worked in industry and has the experience building out dashboarding and reporting, and then a data mentee, somebody who's maybe a little newer to data, but is looking to break into the space, get skills, work on a problem that's related to their industry, and essentially grow their professional presence. The whole learning experience is going to all be project-based, where those senior data professionals, in a lot of ways, are going to be like the teachers, like the mentors, because they're going to be showing and helping share some of their skills with the mentee and with the data champions. But together, you'll be working on a project that is based on real data, using a real problem, and then it's going to lead to real impact for the nonprofit that you're working with. And then finally, it ends with a demo day where we bring in the leadership of the nonprofits. We bring in some other folks from the community who are leaders in the community to show off what you've built, so you can kind of build out and show off your skills, show off how good of a project you've put together. So just to say a little bit more, because I didn't introduce myself, but I will be the overall facilitator of this. And I say facilitator because it's not, it's not like I'm teaching everybody everything. It's I will be leaning on those senior data professionals to be, a mentor and a guide and somebody who can share their knowledge. And even the mentees, even if you're a junior data professional, we'll still be looking for you to work to build things and put them together. But I'm going to be there the whole program, helping facilitate, helping keep this thing on track, and help set the stage for how we're going to work. Just to say a bit more, not to say too much, but I do have over 15 years in teaching and training at things like Sask Polytech, University of Regina, McMaster University. I've done a lot of technical training, corporate training, and I've even run a digital skills program on behalf of Microsoft, helping train people in cloud and data and AI. In my day job, I work in IT technology and strategy. I've worked in a number of leadership roles, have experience as an analytics manager, working in data analytics as well, doing training in that space, and then a lot of work in partnership development as well. So we actually have done a fair bit of work to get nonprofits excited. When we took this out to our nonprofit partners, there was just huge excitement about what we're trying to build here. These are groups that don't have huge budgets, but they are big voices in their community and can speak to, the skills that you might be able to bring. So we have engaged through the Community and Social Impact Regina, a number of nonprofits, 6 of them at this point in time, who are interested in participating in the program and who are willing to dedicate data professionals to working on these teams. So right now we have the Regina Downtown Business Improvement District, Pine Lodge Addiction and Recovery, the Food Bank, YWCA, the Queen City Eastview Community Association, which is actually a few different things wrapped into one. So there might be more than one that they're representing. And then finally, the Queen City Wellness Pharmacy. So a lot of engagement, a lot of excitement, and you definitely will not go without a project if you're able to be a part of the program. So now just to say a little bit more about the roles on the team, just so that you know a little bit more about what sort of a role you'd play depending on what you sign up for. And we will have a sign up link at the end of this that I'm going to share with everybody to pick the role you'd like to be involved with. And we hope you are interested in getting involved. So as a senior data analyst, the real goal is developing your team and project leadership skills. You are going to be where, you're really going to be that mini project lead for whatever reporting project you're putting together for your nonprofit. You're sharing that, experienced hand and helping guide the mentee and helping guide the nonprofit champion and teach them how to build a data product and how to be as successful in using data. A lot of the work there is a lot of training and coaching. So one thing that you might be interested in is if you're somebody who's looking to grow those skills around technical training or, coaching or mentoring more junior staff, sharing that knowledge, you're going to learn a lot there. I also mentioned build your network because at Data for Good Regina, we're pretty proud of the fact that many of the members who come through our doors and run successful projects for us have either hooked up a new career, a new job, a new even just side projects, because you get to meet a bunch of different nonprofits and leaders. And we've generally seen a lot of movement and a lot of success for our members following their engagement with Data for Good Regina. So I can't emphasize that enough. There is a lot of opportunities, and even more than that, you do build out your portfolio so you can show off more to prospective employers. Now, for the mentee, for this role, we're really looking for more junior folks who are looking to get a bit more experience solving real world problems. And the big benefit for you is exactly that. I know in university, in school, or even if you're switching careers, it can be one thing to read how to do data on, like a data camp or in the textbook. But when you get into the field, taking real requirements from a business and trying to have that impact, it's a whole different story. And so part of it's getting that experience, but it's also building that portfolio so that when you go to apply for a job, you can point to something on a website and say, I built that. That was me. That was our team. And we're having real impact and we're having a real success. And that's the type of thing that gets your foot in the door and helps you get that job. And then, just connecting with different industry leaders. I'm not to be honest with you, like honest to fact, I would not work in this job if it was not for my involvement in Data for Good Regina. The only reason I know Scott Wells is because I was involved in Data for Good Regina and he hired me. So there you go, right? So I just want to, I can't overemphasize how helpful it's been. And, my story is not unique for our group. So get involved, really eager to have you out there. A few more details, because I think, there is a time commitment involved. I shared the same thing with the nonprofits and they were good to go. They were excited. We do envision that there's going to be about 12 hours of in-class workshop time where we get together, myself and all of the other groups, and we work together. It's going to come at about once a month and in a couple areas twice a month, just as you work through your project and building out your reporting. And then we say it's up to 25 hours, including prep and post-workshop homework and group meetings. So we do expect the groups to be at least meeting once a month outside of the formal workshop, or we're hoping they do, because it's hard to build a product unless you have that dedicated focus time. But also, a lot of the material that we'll be drawing from, there's just a lot of material there. So you can, if you're dedicating the time and you're putting the effort in, it can be up to 25 hours. We don't necessarily expect that of everybody, but it will take time. We have got a location. Luther College was generous enough to donate some classroom space for us to use at the University of Regina, so it will be in person. And so, yeah, they'll have to figure something out there. And yeah, essentially, if you come out to Luther, it'll work. I'm going to show you the schedule in a minute here. And last but not least, there are some materials that we're requiring. So Windows laptop with Power BI desktop installed. That's because Windows runs Power BI better than Mac. And in fact, Mac sometimes just struggles with it. ChatGPT, or your favorite large language model tool. And this is because as we facilitate, we're going to be using the large language model to help us ease our way into the topics, to help us learn and expand on some of the things that we'll be learning. So I do encourage you to have one of those available. If you haven't used one, we'll try to get you up to speed as quickly as we can. But it is an integral part of the learning experience. And last but not least is the Microsoft Power BI PL300 learning content. I'm just going to show it on the screen here. It's an exam for Microsoft, one of their certified exams, and you don't have to take the certification, but it does have learning. It does have learning paths down at the bottom, which actually have practical exercises. So I know for a lot of the more experienced folks, you won't need to go through these things, but we are providing that as sort of the textbook for the course. And so, yeah, encouraging you to do that. I'm actually going to paste that into the chat here. One of the reasons I know this stuff fairly well is because I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer, and so it's what I'm familiar with. But also, they have good practical hands-on learning. Just to kind of talk through some of the dates here for those of you who are interested. March 28th is when we're going to kick it off with the what is data, how do you use it? The caveat being, if you are a senior data analyst helping us out with this, I will look to meet with you beforehand because I want to help guide you as to what you can do to help out the mentees and help out the nonprofits, because again, I'll be looking to you as a bit of a teacher, a bit of a trainer in that role. Followed by report planning and development on April 11th. All of these are Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. May 2nd, May 30th, June 13th, and June 27th. So I'll send all these slides out after the meetup, just to talk so that you have that available. Yeah, that's what I've got for the Community Data Accelerator. I just wanted to open it up for a few questions before we launch into the next thing. So are there any questions on the overall program itself? We'll talk a bit more about how you can get involved in all of our initiatives, but just right now, are there any questions about the stuff I've been talking about so far?
A quick question: is the necessity to be on site, like in Saskatchewan, or someone?
Right now, that's preferred, yes. So we do encourage you to be on site in this one. Like it's one of these things where we are doing it for Regina right now, because the folks you'll be mentoring and teaching in the nonprofits are just a little less data mature. That is the preferred approach for it. As we do this program more often, we do anticipate that we can maybe look at different models of delivery and even delivering up in Saskatoon. But right now, it's just in Regina. So yeah, unfortunately, we're not there yet. But if this is a success, we'll be looking at other options. Okay?
No issues. Yeah, I wish you all the success. Thanks.
Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? How will we register for that? That's an excellent question that the chat asked. I actually, at the very end of this, will be sharing a link to a Google form that you can use to sign up. You get to pick which you want to participate in. Okay. Any other questions?
Sorry, Ryan, has this been done at any other chapters, or is this the first chapter that's going to be doing this program?
We are the innovators here, Ross. This is the very first chapter in Data for Good that is doing this, and I think a lot of eyes are on us from the rest of the chapters because I think they're really interested to find out how well this will work. We're in the smallest city, and so if we can make this really successful, I'd love to, show Toronto how great we are. No.
Very cool.
Yeah. Sharon is a good chapter, by the way. That's just some friendly competition. The question, there's another one. It says, when can we join from Saskatoon? So Saskatoon, this is our very first pilot, and we're running it with Data for Good Regina just because we have a very active and engaged membership. As we learn a bit from this version of it, and as we work with some of our leadership in Saskatoon, we'll be looking to bring it up to Saskatoon. Like it's on our roadmap. We just need to see how this one goes first. And, if things go crazy or something like that, we might, we're not sure where that's going to land, but it is definitely on our roadmap to get to Saskatoon if this one's a success. And then there's a question, as a learner, how much chance do we get to join the team? I'm not quite 100% sure how to answer that one, but you will have a chance, honestly. Scott, looks like you want to chime in.
Sure. And you know what? We have a number of folks that have signed up on our website that want to be mentees for projects and otherwise. And so what I would say is that if you're interested, please do sign up for this. We will be reaching back out to anyone that signs up to kind of understand, do they have the ability to come out to all of these? What is their level of interest? What are they trying to do? We want to make sure that we're setting folks up for success. And so anyone that signs up will have a legitimate shot, but we want to make sure that we're giving opportunities to everyone. It's one of the reasons why we want to have mentees and not just the senior data folks. We want to build that community. So we want to have as many opportunities as possible.
Okay. I don't see too many more trickling in, so hope that answers most of the questions. You are welcome to reach out over LinkedIn, or you know what, I'll even put my email in here. I don't mind you reaching out to me if there's any questions. So I'll include my email in the chat in case you do have questions or you'd like to get involved. And maybe you're on the fence and you're not sure. But honestly, it doesn't hurt to just throw your name in anyways, because we can always reach out to you and see if you're interested. It's gonna be pretty hands-on. So, I think there's one more. Is there a limitation on the number of joiners? There will be a limitation in the sense that, we only need about 6 senior data analysts, but we also need, with the mentees, we know there's going to be quite a bit of interest because we do have a little interest in our other projects. We're capping it at 6 for now, but that's not saying that we can't expand it. We really have to see what it looks like from the senior data analyst side, just so that we know that those seniors can support having more mentees. So right now, only I think it's 6 seniors, 6 mentees. If we feel that the seniors can support having more mentees, we might look at that. But right now it's just 6 senior, 6 junior. There's another one here. What criteria should be considered when categorizing individuals as senior? It's hard to say. As far as categories for saying you're senior, we encourage you to share your resume with us so that we can give that a review. But if you've worked in data for 2 or more years at least, I think that's sort of that minimum threshold. I don't know, Scott, do you have more thoughts on that?
On the conflict of interest?
No, actually, they were asking how should somebody consider themselves a senior in this case?
So what I would probably say is, are you comfortable and confident building reporting, whether it's dashboards or reports, without kind of the need of supervision or others? And can you lead other folks in that? If you're kind of in that space, I wouldn't say it's 2 to 5 years. It's kind of, do you feel comfortable and confident in that? If that's the case, that's great. We've got folks like Ryan and myself and a couple of the other senior folks that have already kind of reached out that are quite skilled, and so we would be able to support in that. So if you think you're kind of close, put your name in for the senior if you want that opportunity to try and lead. These are great development opportunities, and we would like to help and support in that as well.
So one more question here around, as a government employee, if we are doing it on our own time with our own equipment, is there a need to declare a conflict of interest? That's a tricky question. I think it depends a little bit on the policies of your individual group. I'm not working directly for government. I don't know, Scott, do you know more about that?
Yeah, knowing the individual and the location they're talking about, I would suggest even just declaring it. Again, it's really just to say that you're doing some of these things. It shouldn't be an issue, but again, it's better just to be safe and say, here's what we're doing. And you know what? The benefit of some of that is that your organization knows some of the great work that you're doing from the volunteer space.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, when I told somebody internally here at Sask Energy what we were doing, they're like, you should put that on the website. That's exciting. Like, so I think a lot of folks are just excited because they know that this is, it's free. It's not like you're trying to, do anything, like it's a free program. We're trying to do some good. And so from what my experience has been is that folks are very responsive to it, and they understand that this is it's for the greater good ultimately, and they want to support it. So that's been my experience anyway. Okay, I don't see too many else coming out. We'll have a link to post for everybody in just a moment here. I just want to go through the one more project we're working on, just because we kind of put everything in the one sign up form, and so let's go talk about the second one, and then you can choose which one you're in, what you think might be a best fit. So our second program, I'll just set it up here. It really is Scott will talk a little bit more about it, but the idea is we are trying to build some public reporting to help nonprofits and other organizations trying to have social impact using public data sets. So Scott?
Thanks, Ryan. So one of the big challenges that we've got within the city of Regina, sorry, I'm getting a little bit of feedback there. I don't know, Ryan, if you can mute some of the, there we go. So one of the big challenges we've got in Regina is we actually don't have a lot of open data that is there and available to really tell us what's going on from the social sector side of things. And so one of the biggest asks from the community and a lot of the work that we're doing is, as we work with these different organizations, it's, well, how can we get some of this information available to everyone else to really truly understand what's going on in the community at that higher level, as well as then help to implement something and really initiate change. And so when we look at other locations, so Winnipeg being one of them, and you can go and take a look on the website that they have, it's called mypeg.ca, website that just kind of takes some of the data that's there, whether it's from the city, whether it's from Stats Canada, whether it's from, you name it. They've kind of just compiled it in a way that you can kind of start to search and see what's going on. Now, really, that's the intent of what we're trying to do here. We're going to be trying to get data from a number of different sources. If anyone's used Stats Canada before and tried to put it into reporting, you probably know that it's not the friendliest and easiest to use if you're not a data expert. And so we want to take that same methodology and actually make data available to folks in a number of different areas across a number of different categories, and really start to show what's going on in the city, and then really use that to help drive change. So what we've started to do on this is really just started to outline some of the data that we think would be interesting, that would be available without having to go to places like the city or otherwise, and get them to provide us some data. Now, that being said, we are working with the city and some of the other groups that would have this data to see how we would get that in for phase 2. So really the whole intent of this project is, how do we start to pull data in from those sources and get it in a format that is available for folks, and then build some visualizations and some analysis on top of that. We have done a little bit work on this already, and actually, Dylan, I will get you to jump on here because I think you're going to show off a little bit of kind of what the MVP or first version is, and then we can kind of talk to what the needs are as we go forward. You're good to go there, Dylan?
I am good to go. All right, I'm just going to share my screen. Just bear with me for a moment here.
Do I need to enable it or anything? Or you're good?
No, I don't think so. I should be able to. I should be sharing my screen now.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this was the initial view, and as we kind of go through, you'll notice there's a ton of data on this, and I'll kind of explain. But what we did was we worked with a various amount of sources, so Stats Canada, real estate for Regina specifically, a lot of other areas just in terms of kind of identifying those core economic impact assessments for some of these areas. And we really used mypeg.ca as kind of like that basis. And so what we ended up doing was we took a lot of the data from these different sources, compiled it into a fact, and essentially worked through and determined such things as average house price, building permit value, commuting practices in terms of how people are getting to work on a regular basis, core housing need, dwelling conditions. And this page really shows all of that information and being able to cycle through it. But the real goal of this is to get to a point where you have these pages essentially embedded on a web page and allow you to, at a glance, get an idea of some of these high impact areas. So as an example, for housing price, for Regina, the previous year average house price was $321,000. You can see each year it generally increasing, other than a couple little dips right around there. And then you can also take a look at, okay, housing price is one part of this test, but what about in terms of actual houses on the market versus how many sales were on the market? So you can really get an idea of that delta. And at a glance, I can tell, okay, since last year, we've gone up. The number is green. The average house price has increased. If the average house price decreased, the dashboard would indicate it as red and the arrow would change. Same thing with the previous listings. The amount of the disparity between how many houses were listed versus how many sales increased. So again, green. We can take a look at this for a much more simpler, a little bit less KPI focused in terms of main mode of transport. So you have the ability to really see, okay, in 2015, we had 85,000 people who responded within the census, because again, this is Stats Canada information. So if you don't respond to the census, we don't know. But for Regina, you had 85,000 respondents were car, truck, van, and then you have a lot smaller for everything else. So if I want to be able to compare while removing car, truck, van, I can really take a look and go, okay, how do I look at those smaller impact or smaller assessed modes of transport and get a better idea of that? Okay, so in 2016, we had active mode of transport, which is walking, biking, anything that requires like physical activity in order to move, was 5,600. But then the next year it decreased to about 3,600. And so this type of information can help you really get a better understanding of some of the patterns within the city of Regina, and the ability to expand this not just for Regina, but also Saskatoon, also other cities as they deem fit. Because as we modeled the data, you get it to a point where if you set it up properly with data engineers, you can really just bring it in for whatever city you want, as long as it fits the right format, and just keep adding each year, year after year, and get to a point where you can filter down and really pare down in a very streamlined and easy, straightforward way.
Awesome. Thanks, Dylan. So you may be wondering what some of those KPIs were on there or why those were picked. If anyone's interested, you can actually go to the United Nations website for their Sustainable Development Goals. That's what a lot of communities are starting to base their measures and metrics around. And so we will be looking at kind of using those as the baseline for what we're using, as well as working with community. So this is really just a start. I think Dylan's done a really good job of kind of just showing, here's what we're trying to accomplish, and here's what we're trying to do with this project. Brian, I'll toss it back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Yeah, no, it's a really exciting project, and the hope is we can find some folks who are really interested on the data engineering side, folks who know how to put that stuff together, who know some good SQL and or even some Python that might want to help out with formatting that data, making it automated, making it repeatable. So again, just to repeat for everybody, and I'm going to paste this in the chat, how can you get involved? So right now, where we're at, we need about 4 senior data analysts. We've got a few folks, irons in the fire there, but we do have 4 openings right now for senior data analysts. And actually, right now, we haven't put much of a call out for new or aspiring data mentees yet. So there's quite a lot of openings there. Like I said, we can look at expanding those for the Accelerator program if we have some, capable senior data analysts and we're ready to handle that. But right now we have a lot of openings. So if you get in there, you sign up, you're interested, please, click the link that I shared in the chat. And if you're watching as a recording, I will have sent this out via email or some other method, and hopefully you'll have that link. And then for the community dashboard, we're thinking about 2 data engineers should be able to do the work that's needed for this first cut at a dashboard. Right now, while Scott and Dylan, they've been working on this focused on some, these locations, like, what is it? I think it's just mostly Regina, Scott, is that right?
All Regina, yep. And all of it is just static data. We're not doing anything automated in any way at this point.
That's right. So we're looking for those data engineers to help automate. And over time, as we get those patterns figured out, we will be looking to expand that to maybe other locations in the province to serve a broader purpose. So lots of opportunities right now. Really just need help across the board. And anything that you can give, any amount of time you can provide is going to be very valuable to us. We'll have some other projects coming up in the future too, as we start working with some more nonprofits, but these are really our big bucket items. And this is like the best time to get involved with Data for Good, because there is a lot of interest on the nonprofit sector. Community Social Impact Regina is really excited about what we're doing. Saskatoon, we're growing all the time. We're really figuring out a strategy for how we grow that presence in Saskatoon, and we're getting a lot of interest from folks up in that area as well. So really good time to get involved. Really encourage you to come out and get involved with what we're doing. Again, you can find all of this stuff in the chat. And yeah, I hope that's helpful. One thing I wanted to give a plug to is we do have a lineup of programming coming up. We haven't finalized everything just yet, but I do want to give a plug for Ross Gadzella, who is actually in the chat today. Thanks for making it out, Ross. But he's going to be coming out to talk virtually on March 14th, Pi Day, next month, to talk about from data to insights, how they do data at Great Western Brewing. He's kind of got, the data analysts hot, like celebrity job or something like that, because he works at a beer company. And so I think that that's just really freaking cool. So I hope that, at the very least, you're all interested in what he has to say. I know he's going to talk a lot about some of the insights that they're doing and how they're moving things forward in the data analytics space. So just wanted to give that a shout out before we open it up again for questions on anything that we've talked about today. Before we run, just wanted to get get your take on all of this stuff and see if there's anything else you're curious about.
I got a question. Really great projects. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that you guys are doing. So we run an organization called Tech Career Bridge, and we get a lot of newcomers that come out that are looking for jobs in the data space in Regina, and I never know where to direct them. So I'm just wondering if you guys have any input in like what the job market is like for data analytics people and where they should be looking for opportunities.
Yeah, I got a couple of thoughts on that. Yes, so I mean, I don't know how many people come through your door, so I don't want to say you send them all to us to have a quick conversation with, but I do meet with quite a few individuals that have those questions. I would say shoot them our way to the meetup or to come out to some of these. These are great places to ask those questions. From time to time, when we have our emails that go out to our group, we actually will highlight some of the jobs that are out there. I do know quite a few folks within Regina and kind of the industry, and so if they've worked on projects, I am more than happy to provide a reference to some of these things, especially once I know the work that these folks have done. But I would say get involved in the community and can totally help and guide some of these folks in the right direction. That's exactly what we try and do.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I'll try to connect with you guys after as well, because I think I recognize a few names in the chat that have come out to our events and they're always looking, and I have been referring them here as well. So yeah, see if we can establish some more connections to really help people get jobs in the space and learn some more skills to get that local experience.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Awesome. Thanks.
Awesome,
I'll reach
man.
out to you guys after.
Sure.
Take care, Andrew. Any other questions? Any of these programs sound exciting? Anybody watch the Super Bowl? No.
Yes, the programs look exciting and we can't wait to join. So
Right on. So you better sign up. Google link.
I am signing up. I just have a quick question though. Like, I have Tableau and I use just a little bit of Power BI, and so I'm trying to figure out where I fit in on the list, like senior, junior, or data engineer.
So how long have you worked in data, Lydia?
So I have 2 years in data, but I was also working in marketing, so I kind of have like other experience, not totally related to data, but yeah.
You know, if you have a more well-rounded skill set, you know, we can always try to pair you up with mentees who have a bit more on the Power BI side. If you have that experience building dashboards and you know how to put stuff together, that's what we're really looking for with those senior data analysts, even if you're maybe not quite there on some of the Power BI skills. I don't know, Scott, do you have anything? What do you think about that?
Yeah, and very honestly, almost anyone that I know that has kind of come into this space and worked with us that had Tableau experience in the past, it's very quick to pick up Power BI. The reason we choose Power BI is because it's free for the desktop version, and a lot of the nonprofits and charities don't have the budget to go out and buy otherwise, and so it is our preferred tool. But I would probably say if you have the capacity to do it in Tableau, and have any sort of want or desire to learn Power BI, it's quick. It's very, very quick. And so I think you probably could do the senior if you wanted to do that.
That's what I figured. Okay, thank you. Can't wait.
Looking forward to it. Okay, we've got a lot of good comments. Thank you for liking the opportunities. Hope you all have a chance to sign up. Any more questions before we look to wrap this up?
I had a quick question for Ross Gazella. Like, is there going to be a link or something for the data to insights presentation?
I just don't have the meetup set up yet, but once we get the meetup set, you're on the meetup group, Lydia?
I just joined today, so I just have to figure everything out.
Okay, right on. We're going to have a link posted on the meetup, and we'll have something posted on our LinkedIn real soon. This is, you know, we're still working on getting it together, but I'll get a meetup set up pretty much right after this, and start allowing folks to jump in on this one as well. So
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Hey Ryan, this is Venkata. I was just hoping to see if the link which you posted for the form, is it me or I don't know that the link is not opening?
Oh,
like yeah,
that's
it gives an error page saying can't reach the page and. So,
huh. Okay, maybe I must have cut it off. I'll try again here. Just give me a second.
okay.
I'm just going to post it again. Always got technical issues. So when I click it, this is what it gives me, but it could be that I'm logged in. I don't know. Maybe some other folks could give it a try. The link that I just posted.
Worked for me.
It worked for me as well.
Oh, okay. Then probably it's just me.
So maybe
I'll
just
try again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, Ryan, I just had a question for the community dashboard data engineering part of it. Will there be, I'm just wondering, like, is there any more info on kind of the source of data, like how we would be extracting and things like that? Because it's something I'm interested in, but I just want to make sure that kind of my skill set is applicable to the that job, I guess.
Yes. So we went through and made a whole spreadsheet of various data sources to take this from, but Dylan Edgar's been working with it closely, and it looks like he can add in a little bit more.
The majority of the information that we're starting off with is extracted from Stats Canada from the various census years. There's a few other sites that we're grabbing from, but those ones seem to be a lot simpler. The ones where we're going to need the most help on in terms of getting it sorted out is that Stats Canada extract and getting it to transform into the fact setup that I have, or it being recommended differently by a data engineer.
So the skill that would be needed would be the ability to work with the Stats Canada API is what we're looking for, so that we can automate that. And
okay,
whether
like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, whether you know it or not, or kind of the desire to learn the API, because there's probably not a lot of folks that know it right now.
Okay, and then as far as like tool use, you don't care like if I use Python or whatever, it doesn't matter.
At this point, no. We may standardize a little bit further down, but that'll kind of be a phase 2.
Okay, cool.
And
These are
shout
great
out
questions.
to Mike. Mike is actually doing the project right now for Sask Rugby, and he's done an awesome job for them.
Yeah, about to wrap that up. Just got to make some SOPs for it, and we're all done.
So folks
And-
will be able to see that at a future meetup.
Yeah.
And shout out to BI at Great West, because given a meetup next month. And Mike, you work over there, so shout out. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're kind of wrapped up. So again, just to recap, we do need folks for both of our programs here. Nonprofit Data Accelerator here in Regina, a monthly program. We need folks for the community dashboards. Sign up. Again, be prepared to provide a resume. If you don't have it right now, we might reach out to you depending on numbers and things like that, or even just being able to speak to your experience. So again, really appreciate your time today, everybody. And I just want to say we've got, that we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up and a lot of meetups coming up, hoping to do an in-person event in April if we can, something maybe a little bit more social. So there's a lot of cool things. This is a great time to get involved, and we really appreciate your time today. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you for organizing. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Am I still there?
All right, bye, everyone. We'll be ending it here.